Hello, and welcome to my channel. It's the Network Specialist. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. Everything I will discuss in this video is alleged and in my very own opinion, used for entertainment purposes only. Now let's get into it. So, guys, I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day weekend. I absolutely did, in spite of everything that took place this weekend. I had an absolutely amazing weekend. Okay. So, let me just start off by saying that around 5:15 on yesterday, I received a text from one of my sons saying, "Happy Mother's Day. I got you when I see you." And of course, I did not respond to that text. And if you're listening, it is what it is. You already know how your mama is, okay? So shortly thereafter, I received a call from my son, and he told me, "Mom, get ready. I'm taking you out for Mother's Day." I'm like, "Wait a minute." He was like, "Be ready in 45 minutes." Ready in 45 minutes? Like, who does that? Anybody who knows me knows that I take forever to get dressed, okay? Like, it's a whole, you know, big deal, okay? When I get dressed, it's a whole process. And I need lots of advance notice so that I can make sure that, I'm ready to step out, okay? Nevertheless, I said, "Well, can you give me a clue as to where we're going so that I can know how to dress?" So he told me, just something like karaoke. I'm like, "Cool." So um, I said, "Okay, I'm going to get dressed." So I proceeded to get dressed. And in the meantime, I did a little Google search to see where my son could possibly be taking me for Mother's Day at the last minute. And I seen a concert. It was Fantasia, and I want to say Anthony Hamilton, but I'm not for sure. Okay. So I'm thinking, "Oh shit, now I'm fixing to go see Fantasia, Anthony Hamilton." I think that's who it was. So I'm really getting excited at that point, so I continue to get dressed or whatever. Because he said that he would be here at 6:45, so I literally had 45 minutes to get dressed. Luckily for me, I had already gotten dressed for that day. Earlier that day, I kind of, was kind of relaxing, but then I started to wash my hair. So I did my whole, SAB routine. I shampooed my hair, I conditioned my hair, I put the mask on, I did the leave-in conditioner, blow dried my hair, whatever the case may be. And I had already kind of put together, "Hey, Cece, thank you so much for being here." I had already put together this little, cute outfit to wear, when you're just going to be hanging out at the house. I had this cute white tee that I had gotten off of Candy Burris's Amazon Live. I watch her Amazon lives, and if I see something I like, I get it. So I had a cute little white tee. I had on some earrings. I also got off her live. They were silver with turquoise in them, hoop earrings, and then it was a bracelet that was also silver and turquoise. And then I paired them up with this pair of jean shorts that I had recently purchased. And I like to do clothes hacks, so I had, did a little extra hacking on my shorts. They came already kind of, with little holes and, super cute, but I wanted to add a little more pizzazz to the shorts. So I did that. I usually do that once a year right before summer. I will, create me some new shorts or whatever, utilizing clothes hacks or whatever. So that's what I had on and everything. So I had to take that off and get dressed for wherever my son was trying to surprise me and take me. So once we got in the car, I asked him, like, "You're not going to give me like a hint?" So he did ended up showing me the flyer, to the tickets where we were going. So the thumbnail that you see is actually where we was headed. We were headed to the comedy tour with Mike Epps. Um, that also, give me 1 second. Let me remove this banner so that I can tell you guys who all was there. So in this comedy tour, it was of course Mike Epps, Country Wayne, Lil Duval, Tony Roberts, Carlos Miller, Mojo Brooks, Haha Davis, and Bubba Dub. I think those were the guys, if I have the right um people. Hey Dee Dee, thank you so much for being here. I hope you had an amazing Mother's Day. So this is where we were headed, okay? So we get there, perfect timing. They hadn't came on set right after we sat down in the first seats. They started the show. So we were saying, oh, we got to make sure we're in the right seats because, if you're not in the right seats, people will come and tell you to move. But some kind of way, even though my son said all of that, we still ended up being in somebody else's seats. Well, actually, he was. I was in the right seat. So once we sat down, I said, we were going to get some food or whatever the case may be. So I told him to go first so that I could stay and watch the seats. So while he was gone, that's when I realized we were in the wrong seats. No biggie, it happens. So while he was gone, I went and found our correct seats and I left my purse in the seat that I was sitting in. I know it's crazy, but I'm just like a trusting person. I always just, I don't know. It's careless. I've been called out on that lots of times, but it's just who I am. So anyway, I texted him and told him that we were sitting in somebody's seat. So when he came back, he sat in the seats. So then I was going to go and, hey, Purple Queen, thank you so much for being here. So I was going to go and get me some food because in the midst of me getting dressed for that day, changing my whole outfit, whatever the case may be, I forgot to eat. So I went to go grab some food. The food line was so long, I was just like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to do it. So I got in another line that was shorter because they actually sold alcoholic beverages. So the only thing I seen that they had to eat was the pretzel and some popcorn. So I was like, okay, I'll just do the pretzel. I've never eaten that before that I can remember, but I'm like, it'll fill me up. I don't eat a lot, so that would be perfect. So while I was in she said, "You're welcome." Absolutely. And Cece said, "Please stop leaving your purse, sis." I know I will. I know it's a bad habit. Um, hey Sharon, thank you so much for being here. So while I was in the line getting ready to get whatever I was gonna get, um, I got a text from my bank, a fraud alert text. I'm like, ain't this a bitch? So anyway, right after I seen the text, my bank called me again for the second time because I missed the first call. So while I was waiting on the person to actually come on the phone because they had me on hold, I made it to the counter. And so I said, well, I'm not really sure this is actually my bank because I had a situation before where somebody was trying to fraud and scam me and they actually pretended to be my bank telling me that somebody else was using my card. So I wasn't sure if I could trust it at that point. So once I made it to the counter, you know, um, I went ahead and say, let me check this card just to be sure that it is my bank because my bank was still on hold, so I hadn't spoke to them yet. So in the text, they told me that they were going to block my card. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I used the card. It was blocked. Not a problem. I have multiple cards. That wasn't a problem. But I'm like, oh my gosh, like people are out here scamming people on Mother's Day. I received 3 transactions from Shein. Like, I don't think I'll ever buy anything from Shein because I have bought something from Shein, but it's been so long ago. I can't even remember how long it's been. I have not purchased anything from Shein in probably over a year. I don't even know how long it's been because I just can't remember. But I know it's been a really long time. So Once they got on the phone, at that point, I just grabbed the pretzel, whatever the case may be, and got on the phone with my bank fraud um, department. And once they realize that fraud is going on with your account, they have to go over every transaction with you to make sure that you actually made those transactions and not the people who are trying to scam you. And just so happened, the day before was Melody's live. So I made at least 3 to 4 separate purchases from TikTok. I had made a lot of purchases on Amazon. So I'm like, dang, can we like do this tomorrow? Like, you already blocked my card. Like, now I'm missing the show. But I got through it, you know, went back to the show. It was an amazing time. Like, one thing about this particular son, he's very creative when it comes to gift giving. And I love that about him because he knows me so well. He knows what I like or what I would potentially like. So I'm always excited about his gifts. I think last year in September for my birthday, he gave me $1,000, but he specifically wanted me to buy something that or spend the money on something that would help my business, which is amazing because he's very thoughtful. So I was just so like happy because I had no idea. I had no plans to get out the house, yesterday on Mother's Day, but it was a very, very pleasant surprise. We had an amazing time. And the only thing is, that was the first time I went to a comedy show with one of my sons. And the only thing that was a little bit awkward was the fact that absolutely every comedian that came on, they had very ugh, nasty sex jokes or whatever. And it's a little uncomfortable hearing all of that stuff with my son, but it's cool because my son is 34 years old. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, and the whole thing with my bank, everything went smoothly. But right now, I'm not feeling either one of my banks because I actually went to my secondary bank on Saturday and ended up being there 2 hours. And it's like that absolutely every time I go. So they close at 12. I ended up being there till 1. And I was the last person to leave the bank because I was the last person that they serviced because there was only 2 people working. And after they did help me with whatever I came there for, I spent 10 minutes while they were closed in there, while they were counting their banks, whatever their whole closing process is, reading the manager because I'm like, this is absolutely ridiculous. I came here to sign up for online, to get you guys to help me set up my online banking only because the last time I came, I didn't have my secondary phone where you guys have to send me the little pin. So I couldn't do it then. So I had to come back. And so just for something so simple, I ended up being there. I got there before 11 and didn't leave until around 1. So I was very annoyed by that. And if I hadn't stayed there and really just told them exactly how I felt about the fact I'm coming here on a Saturday because obviously I can't come through the week. You know what I'm saying? And to spend this amount of time for something so simple, it's ridiculous. So I would have called somebody because every time I go there, there's a tech issue, there's something wrong, they're understaffed, they're running around, they're doing the drive through, they're helping the people at the counter, they're sitting down with customers in the office, and it's absolutely ridiculous. So I was so annoyed. So after that, I actually went out to lunch after I left the bank on Saturday. And let me see what you. Hey, Paula, thank you so much for being here. Hey, Sandra P, thank you so much for being here. She says replay, not regular. Oh, late but regular. Okay, gotcha. So yeah, I was a little annoyed. So I decided, even though I really didn't plan on going to lunch after I left the bank, I ended up going to lunch. And at lunch, usually whenever I go out to lunch or dinner, I usually get 2 dinners. I'll get one where I try something new, and then I'll get something that I know I like just in case I don't like what I'm trying. But I do that so that I can try new things and, find some new dishes that I actually like. So the thing that I tried, I did not like it, but not a problem. I knew that there was a potential, that I wouldn't like it, and not a big deal. So yeah, it was just like my weekend. It was a great weekend. I got in some relaxation time. I ate some good food. I was surprised, and went to this concert. And guys, I don't know if y'all know, out of that whole group, I love Country Wayne. It's just something about Country Wayne, and it's just not his comedy. I just think he's a very sexy guy. I get it. He dated just hilarious, and I'm pretty sure she couldn't deal with all those baby mamas and kids or whatever the case may be. But he's just a very interesting guy, and he has some beautiful eyes, and I just think he's hilarious. And obviously, I like Mike Epps or whatever the case may be. Lil Duval is from Jacksonville, Florida. Duval. And I don't know if you guys knew it. I didn't know at the time, but he was in a really bad accident when he was in the Bahamas, and he broke his leg. So he had been recovering from that, but now he's back out there. I did notice a little limp when he was on stage, but he is funny as heck. And Dee Dee said, "Glad you enjoyed your weekend." I absolutely did. And Purple Queen says, "I love Country Wayne as well." Yes, he's funny, he's handsome, he has some beautiful eyes, and it's just something about him. But all the comedians I seen was very funny. And I like the little intermissions with the music, that's always nice to keep you crunk. But just to end up, because it was held at the civic center or whatever the case may be, so there was so many people there. I guess in Orlando, that was the best thing they had going on for Mother's Day, because it was it was a packed house. It was a lot of people there. So again, really had a great time. It was a long drive, but it was a great time, and an unexpected pleasant, evening for Mother's Day. So, yeah, I just had to share that with you guys. But I could not believe that scammers will just, I mean, they will take your last dime. If I wouldn't have noticed that they were, if my bank hadn't sent me that fraud alert, they would have kept on making charges until they cleaned me out. And for some reason, it seems like that happens to me like every 6 months with that particular bank. With my other bank, I have never had any issues with fraud, nobody trying to, do whatever. So, guys, if you've ever had that experience, what do you think is the cause? Like, do you think it has to do with me making purchases on TikTok? Because I have made a purchase on every single one of Melody Cherie's live. This time, I got the new shorts that she has, and then this time I decided to re-up and focus on gummies, because I do the vinegar gummies for gut health. And then they had a combo that they were calling Gut Buster. So I did that. And then I also got my usual ashwagandha that I usually get with my vinegar gummies. So I got the three different types, because I use them every day and I take them at least twice a day. And I love the fact, that, it helps promote gut health, because I also take cinnamon pills. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with cinnamon pills, but I take those because cinnamon pills also help with metabolism. They serve multiple purposes, but that's the reason why I take them, is because they help with metabolism. And as you get older, you don't move around as much, you don't work out as much, whatever the case may be. So it helps with gaining weight in your mid area or whatever the case may be. But also, if you have diabetes, it helps to maintain and regulate your A1C. So that's another good use for cinnamon pills, in case you guys didn't know. And Cece said, also lock your credit report with the three credit agencies. They have to lock it for free, even though they try to get you to use the option with a fee. Okay, Gotcha, Cece. Thanks for that information. And then somebody else mentioned something about Apple Pay. What is you guys' experience with Apple Pay? Because honestly, I don't use Apple Pay, but I do remember once when my son was going to send me a monetary gift and he told me that he only uses Apple Pay. And I remember signing up for it, but I don't remember ever using it. So I'm going to go back in and shut that down. And Sandra P said, I only use prepaid cards online. I started to have problems. Okay, so you were having the same issue, so you just started using prepaid cards. Okay, I think I'm at that point where I need to do that because it's getting to be too much. Because now I have to sit back and wait to see like what's going to come back. I'm going to get an email saying, oh, my subscription or whatever the case didn't go through. So this is what I have to go through every time this happens. And it is so annoying. And Sandra P says, anytime I swipe at Airport Club, I get Airbnb and other unknowns. Okay. So you use it for all of those purposes. Gotcha. And Purple Queen says, I used to purchase on Melody's Lives, but now I purchase on her website because something suspicious was happening when I used my card a couple of times. Okay, gotcha. And honestly, a lot of times whenever she does a live, she do come back and run a sale on her website as well. So that might not be a bad idea too, Purple Queen. And she says, I use Apple Pay all the time. In fact, I used it an hour ago. Okay, so you don't have any problems with Apple Pay. And then Cece said, I use PayPal online. And I believe you told me that before, Cece. I actually do have PayPal. But I just don't use it that much. So that might be another option that I actually start using my PayPal. But I did have a bit of a bad experience with PayPal with fraud as well. So I think that's what kind of made me a little leery of PayPal. But maybe they've heightened up their security because when I tell you scams are on the rise right now, it is absolutely ridiculous. And I do a lot of online shopping. Like that's my favorite way to shop. Even when it comes to ordering groceries, whatever the case may be, I hate to walk up in a store. So I pretty much do everything online. And guys, if you haven't checked out Candy's Amazon Live, she has, some cute pieces on there. Um the last one, I don't think I purchased anything because it was kind of geared more towards Mother's Day gifts and I didn't really see anything I liked. The only thing I did like was the pajamas that she had on because I probably have about 20 pairs of pajamas. I absolutely love pajamas. I actually wear pajamas to work. You know what I'm saying? Because I work at home. So I always have on my cute pajamas. But the pajamas that Candy had on was like 130 or 140. I'm like, no, ma'am. They're cute, but baby, I'll just keep, ordering my pajamas from Bath and Body Works. I'm sorry, Victoria's Secrets. And then there's a couple ones that I like that are actually on Amazon, but I ain't finna pay no $130 to $40 for no um pajamas on Amazon. I mean, I would prefer to do that at Victoria's Secrets before I do that on Amazon. And Purple Queen says, "Me too." And I think you're saying that you love pajamas. That is just my favorite pastime is pajamas and fuzzy socks. I always have fuzzy socks to match my pajamas, and that's pretty much what I lounge around in all the time. That's just my comfort zone. And have me a candle burning, of course. And Purple Queen says, that's ridiculous for pajamas. You could just look at them and tell they were high quality and they look to be very, very soft. But no, ma'am, not off Amazon. Because the thing with Amazon, sometimes, you know, the quality looks a certain way in the pictures. And then once you actually order it, it's not the same. And that's the reason why I like to do Amazon Lives because at least you have a live person giving you a review of the product. and telling you what you can expect versus looking at a picture. They will put a picture up there, and the actual product that they send you will be something totally different, a totally different material. So that's the thing you have to watch out for Amazon. So it is better if you can at least do Amazon on live. So but yeah, the last time I ordered from Melody, I did the bag and I did the um tumbler, the black tumbler. And I want to say this about the tumbler before I head out, guys. I absolutely love this tumbler. The thing about skincare, skincare doesn't work if you don't, consume water as well. You have to drink a lot of water along with your skincare regimen. So now that I got this tumbler, for whatever reason, it is really helping me to drink a lot of water. So I absolutely love this tumbler, and I know I'm probably going to get another, but I really do love the tumbler. So, guys, if you haven't gotten a tumbler, I've seen a lot of good feedback when I was on the live. A lot of people talking about how much they love the tumbler, and I absolutely agree with them. I love the tumbler as well. So, guys, that's going to be it for this video. I'm really trying to stay on time because Monday is our busiest days. We're busy as heck. So yes, I got to get up out of here. But guys, if you did not like the video on your way in, please like the video on your way out. And if you just happen to be catching the replay, make sure you like the video and drop down in the comment section so that we can keep this conversation going. Thank you guys so much for watching, and bye for now.